Our events bus handles communication, state manager handles data, events constants prevent typo. Now we are going to create our date picker class that ties everything together. By the end of this episode, you will have a working date picker, but more importantly, you will see how the pieces connect. Now let's create our date picker. So we'll create the date picker file, and now we can start with our class date picker. The date picker, let's initialize the values, and here the constructor will take two parameters, input element and options. This input element, the input element where we will add the date picker, and options that user has options to pass. Now we will need to store values, so we'll say this dot input element. So we need to store the reference to the input element, so input element here, then we have the options. Next we will need event bus and the state manager, event bus to trigger the event and state manager for storing our date picker data. So we have the event bus, we have imported event bus here, we'll add the JS, and next we need this dot state, and it will be new instance of state manager, and the state manager takes the event bus first parameter, so we'll say event bus, and second it takes initial state, and we'll check this one, selected date. So if the options has the initial state, initial date, otherwise we will pass null. So this is our event bus and state manager. Next we need reference to our date picker, so we'll store this dot picker element equals to null. Initially it is null because we have not created our date picker yet. Second we need days container. This is days container which contains all the dates. It's null, and we need the title element. It's also null. Next we need event listener. So when we click on input, this input element, or we click on the DOM somewhere else to close the date picker, or we press escape key, we need all these event listeners. So we'll say this dot on input click, this on input click, and we'll bind this here. Next is on document click, and the last is the key down when we press the escape key. Now we will initialize the date picker here. So we'll say this dot create DOM. This DOM is not the HTML complete DOM. This is the DOM for our date picker. So we'll call the date picker create DOM first. So once we have the date picker, then we can set up the event listeners for this date picker. and then we can subscribe to state. So this dot and finally we will render it. This order matters because the first thing is we will create the DatePicker DOM, all the HTML, then we will add event listener to that DatePicker, and then we will subscribe to the state. So whenever the state change, we can have the event emits and we can listen to the events, and finally we will render the DatePicker. So this order matters. Now let's create our first create DOM method here. So we'll say create DOM, this dot picker element, and we'll create document dot create element. We are creating the div, and this dot picker element dot class name, we'll give it a class name black and white date picker, and now we can add the HTML for the date picker. So picker element dot inner HTML equals to, let me bring the HTML. It's simple as we did earlier, so it's a very basic HTML for our date picker. It has the header here. In the header we have buttons, previous month, previous year, next month, next year, and the title where we display the month and year. Then we have the weekdays, Sunday to Saturday. We have the days container, it will contain all the days, and in the end we have the footer to go to today's date or clear the date. Now we have the HTML ready. So this is our first reference, which is the picker element. We have two more, days container and title element. Now let's add this dot days container equals to this dot picker element dot query selector, and we can select using the class black and white date picker days. Now if you see here, we are not querying the DOM, the HTML page. We are just querying our picker element that we just created here. So this HTML only exists in our date picker, and we are querying this HTML to get this days, not the document.query selector. It's picker element.query selector. So we can easily select this one here, and there is no chance that it will not available in this picker element, because we just created here, and once we create, we will query it and select this picker days. Next we have title element. So this dot title element, this dot picker element dot query selector, and we can select using the class black and white date picker title, and this title class is this one. So we have selected these two. Now our date picker is ready. Our days container and title element has the reference to the elements. Now we can add this picker element to the DOM. So we'll say this dot input element dot parent node dot insert before, and we'll pass the node and the child. So this is the node that we want to add, and this is the child. So this dot input element dot next sibling. Now we can test it. So before that, we don't have all these methods. We can just remove them and remove these as well. And let's export the date picker class. So export default date picker. Now if we go to the HTML, I have a couple of lines of JS. They are okay, no need to, and these JS we will use them later. So for now we have two date picker. I have just imported the date picker JS file and created two instances, one for this input and second for this input, and I have given the ID. Now if we go here and click, nothing happens. Why? Because we did not added any event listener. But if we inspect it and if we check the HTML, okay, one thing here, it says a datepicker.js is not found. Okay, or spelling mistake, this file name is incorrect, datepicker.js. Now we have these two input elements. Let's check them. So this is the first one, and we added this date picker here. You see here we have added this date picker, and for the second one we can check this date picker is here. Now it is not being displayed on the DOM because by default it has a display none, and we did not added any event listener to make it visible, but we can see it here. If we remove it, you can see that we have two date pickers, but there is no days or no title, because here there is no day, we did not calculate or we did not update the title. Now let's add our second method, which is the setup event listener. So in here we'll say setup event listener. Now the first event listener we will need is input event listener. Second, we will need the picker element, our date picker. Then we will need our DOM click. When we click on the DOM to close the date picker, we'll need document event listener, and finally we will need our escape key. So key down listener, we'll say key event listener. Let's add the first event listener, our input. So this dot input element dot add event listener, and this is the click event, and here we will just reference to the on input click. We have not declared or defined this function yet. We will do it. Let's just add all these event listeners first. Second is our picker element, which is our date picker. So picker element dot add event listener. This is click event. You take a callback with the event, and in here let's add our click event handler. So first I will write the code and then I will explain. Event dot target dot closest we will find using the data attribute. So it's data action, and if we find it, we can say data set or action. We read the value here, and if we find the action, we'll say this dot handle action. This method we will write it later. Now just add the reference or just a dummy placeholder, and we will return from here. Next we will need our day click. So it will be day element e dot target dot closest black and white date picker day. It will be our day class for the day, and then we will check if we have day element. If we find it, then we go and read values. We will read value day from day element dot data set dot day, and we will convert into the number because we will need it as a number. So we'll use parse int. Then we need the month, parse int, not the float, int. We'll say day element dot data set, not the date set, it's data set. So data set dot month, and we need the year as well. So let's say year equals to parse int day element dot data set dot year, and then we will add a check here. If it is a number value day, then we will call one more method, select date. It will take 3 parameters, year, month and day, we had two more event listener, and then I will explain all this code and we will see it action in our page. So let's go to the DOM event listener, document dot add event listener. It is a click event, and when we click here, we'll say this dot on document click. And next we have our key event listener. So we'll say document dot add event listener. It's key down, and it will be this dot on key down. Now let's go through the code and see what we have done. So this is our event listener. When we click on the input element, this one, it will handle this event. Next we have the picker element, and here I have written data action. This e.target.closest data action. Why is that? Let's check our picker element HTML. This is our picker element, and if you see here, we have these data attributes, data action for all the buttons. So previous month, previous year, next month, next year, today, or clear, they all have these attributes. So what we do, we read these values here and we read the action. Now whatever action is, it may be like today, clear, or next year, next month, previous year, previous month. So all these are our action. We'll read that and we will have a separate function which handles all these actions. So this is why we are selecting using the data attribute. Next we have the day element. So we will have the day element HTML, and similar to this data action, that day element will have data set, day, data month, data year, and we will read that. Right now it does not exist, but we will add it later. Next, the document event listener. It's simple. We click, we handle the document click, and same for the key down. Now let's add few more methods, because here we are trying to call this on input click, but it does not exist. So let's start with this one. So we add it here. We'll say on input click to take the argument event. First we do e dot stop propagation. So event does not go to the root element, it just stop there, and then we have the this dot. So when we click on this input element, what we want? We want to open the date picker. So we update state. We say state.toggle, whatever state is there, because this can toggle. This input is toggle click. So if we click on it, date picker is already closed. We open it. If we click again, if it is open, we close it. So we are calling the toggle method from our StateManager. Next we need on document click here. So let's define it here. On document click, take the event as a parameter, and here we check. Now when we click on the document, wherever we click, that particular event should not be inside that particular event target. Whatever we click, let's say I click on this text. If I click here, this target should not be inside date picker or input element. Then we close the date picker. So for that, we add a check here. So this dot picker element dot contains event dot target. This event dot target is wherever we click on the DOM, that is our target, and we are adding a condition that that target should not be inside our picker element. Same we need to add for input element. So we'll say this dot input element dot contains e dot target. So our input element and picker element should not contain that target wherever we have clicked on the DOM. If this condition is true, we'll say this dot state dot close. We will call this close method, and it will close the date picker. Similarly, we will need a handler for the key down when we press the escape key. So we'll say on key down, to take the one argument, the event, and we'll check if e dot key equals to escape. If this condition is true, again we call this dot state dot close method, and it will close the date picker. So we handle this one, and we have handled on input click. Now this one, handle action. So wherever we click on our date picker, so we click on previous button, next button, it will handle this. This handle method will handle all these actions. So let's create that. Handle action, it takes one argument which is action, and here we will use the switch case. So this is the action, and the value could be previous year, and if it is a previous year, then we can say this dot state dot navigate, and navigate takes two parameters, month offset and year offset. This is a year click, so month is 0 and year it is previous, so we say -1. And if you remember, we have this method available in our state manager. If we check here, state manager, and here is our navigate method. So it takes these two values and it will call set view, and set view will calculate and update our state for view month, and it will emit the event that view has changed. So this is the whole process of events. Back to the date picker, let's add the same thing for all the handlers. So let's put it to 3 times. This is previous year, it will be previous month, next month, we have the next year, we have here today, and one more, the clear. Now let's update the values. So for the previous month, it will be -1 and 0, because this is a month, so year is 0. Now the next one, it's 1 or 0, 1 and 0. For the next year, it's 0 and +1. So for today it will be different, because we don't call the navigate, we'll call this dot state dot go to today. This method we declare in our state manager, and then we have the this dot state dot close. So we selected our today's date, then we close the date picker. Next we have the clear. So for the clear, we will call our clear method, this dot state dot clear, and we will update our input. So this dot update input. This update input does not exist as of now, but we will declare it later. Let's see, we can just comment it out and we should test it. So let's see, this does not exist, we can comment it out. This is fine, and here okay, this is fine. Let's add these things here. Okay, now let's go to the date picker, click here. Okay, see the console. If there is any error, we say cannot read properties of reading bind 18, line number 18 here on input click. Okay, we define the input click. Where is it? On input click. Let's see the name. On document click like this. Okay, now it is working. So the name was not correct, so now it is working. Okay, we should make it the click like this. Let's see, if I click here, okay, there is one more thing. Cannot read properties of undefined reading content, line number 108. Let's see, 108, where is it? Okay, this is here on document click. Okay, there is a problem here. This click should be removed. Let's see. Okay, now there is no error. Let's see. We click on the input handler. It calls the input handler. It's called this state manager, which is fine. Okay, till now it is fine, but we have not rendered our date picker, so we will not see it here, but we can find our date picker in here in the DOM. It is still there, but these functions are not working, because even if we click here, it will not update, because we don't have the render method which will render our DOM into the DOM, date picker into the DOM. So we'll come to that later. Now let's uncomment these things and continue so we can finish it. So let's go in here. We have done the handle action. Now the next is set up event listener. So we need to add the event listener. So let's do it here. Set up event listeners, and here are our listeners. First is this dot eventbus dot on. Now first event is view change. So when we click on the any month or year, it will change it. So we can say events dot view change. We want to call this method. So it will be this dot render. Render method does not exist. We will create it after this event listener method. Next we have this dot event bus. We want to emit, not the emit, on. We want state event, not the text. We want to call that method as state event, and we will give it is open, and the callback will take the value, and in here we will check if, not if, we will check if the picker element dot style dot display equals to, if value is true, then we want to display it block, else it's none. Next we have event, which is the date select. So on events, not event target, events dot date select, and we will pass the data in our callback, and it will call the this dot update input. This method we will edit later, and the next will be this dot render. All these method, all this functionality, we will test it. First let's finish all of them. Next we have the clear date. So we'll say this dot event bus dot on events dot date clear. We'll call this callback, this dot render. Now let's add our render method. So render, and in here it will need a few values from our state. So we'll say this dot state dot get state, and what we need view month, view year, and selected date. All these three we need, and we will need a month name to display on the date picker. So let me bring the month name. So I will just add it here, array of the month name. Now when we say I want to render the date picker, first thing we will our date picker is ready, but first we update this title here. So we'll say this dot title element dot text content, and it will be months, month name, and we will get it using the month, view month, not the month, view month. And then we display the year as well. So we'll say view year, and once that is done, we need to render these days here. So let's come in here, we'll call a new method, this dot render days. We are not adding all the rendering logic of the days inside our render method. We will create a separate. So it will take view month, view year, and selected date. Now let's create this method render days. It will take month, year, and selected date. So for the days we have done the calculation earlier, we will do it now again. It will be a little bit different, not the calculation, but the how we create the UI. So let's declare the variables. So we'll need today, new date. we'll need first day of the month. So new date dot year, month and one. So for the current month and this year, we can get the day, first day, which will be like 0 to 6, Sunday to Saturday. Then we need total days for the month. Say new date, year, month plus 1. We go to the next month, we add the 0, that we want to read the 0 date, but there is no 0 date in the next month, so it go back to the current month's last date and we will read the date. Then we'll need previous month days, so const previous month days. It will be new date, year, month and 0. For the current month, if we try to read 0 date, there is no 0 date, so it will go to the previous month's last date, which will be the total days for the previous month. So we'll get date, and we'll need the HTML for all the days, so we'll define HTML variable here, initialize empty string. Now let's create calculate the previous month days. So we can say for that I equals to first day minus 1, I is greater than equals to 0, I minus minus, and here our day is previous month days minus I, and previous month equals to, if month equals to 0, then we say it's 11, else we'll say month minus 1 for the previous year. You can say if month equals to 0, we'll say year minus 1, else it's year. Now let's create the HTML, and HTML will be like this. So we have the div, we have the class name, it's black and white, date picker day, and it's a previous month, so we need one more class to highlight the previous month days. So black and white, date picker day, and it's other month. Next we need the data attribute, and now you will see why we added those data attribute. I will just explain. So first let's add it here. It's a day, data month, it's previous month, we have data year, it's previous year. And now we can add the value, which is the day, and close the div here. Okay, this is our HTML for the previous month, and this is the calculation. Now let's do the calculation for the current month. So we come in here, let's add the current month days, and for the current month it's very simple. We start for loop from day 1, and we'll say day is less than equals to total days and day plus plus. Now the current month will have multiple classes, so I will just create a array for the classes, and default class we add DatePicker day. Now let's say the date, and it will be new date, year, month and day. Now we need to check if it is today's date, we will add today's class, and if it is selected, we will add the selected date class, and if it is a weekend, we can add a weekend class, and then we will create our HTML for current month days. So let's add the check here. If this dot is same day, so we'll create this method to check what day is like if it is a both date are same or not. We'll create this method later. It takes date and today. We pass these two variables, and then we'll add the classes dot push. We add one more class, black and white, date picker day today. So this is for today, and if it is selected date, we will add one more check here. So this dot is same day, will pass date and selected date, and we should have the selected date. If it is not there, we don't have to check. And then we'll add one more class, this dot push, and date picker day selected. Next we can add a class for the weekend as well, so let's add it there. So day of week date dot get day. So for every date we can get the day of the week, like if it, let's say if it is 15th, then we can say what day it is in the month. So it could be like if the 15th of the month date is Thursday, then it will return us 5 or the 4. So that's how we can get the day. Then we can check if day of week equals to 0, which is Sunday, or day of week equals to 6, which is Saturday. Then we can add one more class, classes dot push. We'll add date picker day, and it is weekend. So add the weekend class. Now let's create the HTML. So HTML div and class equals to, we created the classes array, so classes dot join, and then we will add the data attribute, data dot day, it's day, then data dot month, it is month, and we need one more data year. So we'll say data year equals to year. We close here, and then let's add the day as a value so we can display it, and then we close the div here. This HTML is also ready, and now let's check the next month days. I know it is taking time, but let's complete it and then we will test it. We need next month days. So total cells equals to 42, and current cells equals to first day minus first day plus total days. Then we have the next days equals to total cells minus current cells, and then for loop, let I equals to 1, or we can say day equals to 1, both are fine. So day equals to 1, days less than equals to next days, and day plus plus. And here we need to add again the calculation for the next month, next year. So we'll say next month, we'll calculate month equals to 0, not the 0, if it is 11 then it's 0, else it's month plus 1. And next year it will be month equals to 11, then it's year plus 1, else it's year. Now let's add the HTML. So HTML will be the div, the class name, black and white, DatePicker, day class, and we need one more class because it is other month. So black and white, date, picker, day, other month. Then we can add data attribute, data day, day is the day, and data month, and it will be next month. And we have one more, data year, and it's next year. Let's add the day here and close the div. Okay, so all the days are calculated. Now we can finally add to the HTML, which is this dot days container dot inner HTML equals to HTML. Now we have defined, or like we have used few methods here. So now we can create them. Let's create the same day. It takes two value, date 1 and date 2, and it returns a boolean. So it will check if date 1 dot get date equals to date 2 dot get date, and date 1 dot get month equals to date 2 dot get month, and we need to check year as well. So date 1 dot get year, get full year equals to date 2 dot get full year. It will return the boolean, and these conditions will work. Next we need select date. So if we scroll up, we can uncomment this one. This one, the select date, let's add this one now. So we'll say select date, and it takes three parameter, year, month, and day. First let's get the date. So new date, year, month, and day. Now we need to add a one check here. So we check here, like if month is not equals to this dot state dot get view month, and year is not equals to this dot state dot get view year. This is OR condition. So like if the month that we have in the select date is not equals to month in our state, or year is not selected, then we need to change the view, because this is a different month and year. So if we are selecting any date from previous month or the next month, we need to update the view. So this dot state dot set view, and we'll pass it month and year. So why? Because when we click on the previous month or next month date, which will be visible in our date picker, then we need to check if it is if it is not a current month or current year, then we update the view. Then we'll say this dot state dot selected date, and we'll pass the date here. Then we'll close the date picker. This dot state dot close. So we have selected the date, we have updated the view, and now we are closing the date picker. Okay, state manager, it says does not exist. Okay, set selected date, not the, this is a selected date. Okay, now our selected date, select date is there. Next we need update input. So if we scroll up and we check here, update input, when we clear the date, so we need it, and here as well when we select the date. So let's add this one. So we'll say update input, and inside it, first let's get the selected date. We can get it this dot state dot get selected date. Then we will check if we have the selected date. So if we have the selected date, then we need to update the input. So for the input we will need the month name, short month name. Let me bring those here, and then we can say this dot input element dot value equals to months, and we can say selected date dot get month. Then we display the date. So selected date dot get date, and then the year. So here is selected date dot get full year, and this is how we update the input value. So if we have a selected date, we will update the input value, and then if it is not the selected date, we can just clear the input value because there is no value selected. We can say this dot input element dot value equals to empty. So this method we are calling at two places. One is clear when we click on the clear, and second is when we select the date. So when we click the clear, there will be no date because we are clearing the state. This method, if we come here and check the clear method, the clear, it set selected date to null, right? And when the date is selected null, and then we go to the update input, it will try to read that value. It is null, then it will set value to empty string. Otherwise it will update the input. So this is our update input. Now let's see what else is there if we have some other method here. So all these are fine. Okay. All is good here, and in here we have the create DOM setup. We don't have the subscribe to state yet, right? So we can add that subscribe to state. Oh, I think we have done is subscribe to state is done. I think, yeah, it should be okay. It is not. What we have done, we done the setup event listener. Wait a minute. So let's go up here, setup event listener. Okay, listeners are there. Then what we have, okay, this name, see, this is two times we declare same method two times. It should be subscribe to state. My bad, let me just fix it. It should be subscribe to state. So subscribe to state is done, and our render method is also done. Here is our render method. Now let's give it a try if it is working. Click here. Okay, let's see any error. It says, okay, so line number 181. Oh, this is not a method. It should be the equals to sign here. Cannot read property of reading get date. Line number 243. Let's see. Date 2, date 1, where is the same day used? If we scroll up, okay, if we see it here, and okay, it should be the first we should check if date is there or not, then we will call the method. So if we save it here, okay, now it is there. Now let's see if I click here. Okay, it's not working. So this is our input handler. If we open the input handler, Where is it? Okay, here input handler, we click here, it calls the toggle method. Let's see the toggle method. Okay, if a state is open, we close. Okay, we need to call here open, not the close. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. You see, we click here, click outside, and if you see, we can select any date. It's working fine. We can change the month, and we can open the second date picker as well. It's working fine. We can select the date. Yeah, it's working fine. So two date picker are working just fine. So we have completed our date picker as well, and we have used our event bus and state manager. Our complete date picker is working fine. We can have multiple date picker on the same page, and in here we can have the second date picker. We can add third, fourth, we can add unlimited number of date picker. So it's working fine. So our date picker is working. Now we need to add some public APIs. Why? So this date picker, if the user wants to register some event or get selected date, so we need some public APIs method. So let's add public API. First is on, so user can register for a particular event. So we need event name and the callback. Then we will return from here this dot EventBus dot on. We pass the EventBus and callback. Next we need get selected date, and it will return this dot state dot get selected date. Next we need open to open the picker. So we'll say open. It will call this dot state dot open. We need close. So this dot state dot close, and we need destroy method as well. So we can destroy the date picker, and in here we'll say this dot input element dot remove event listener, and when we added our click event, now we want to remove it. So we'll say this dot on input click. Next is document dot remove event listener. Let's click event, and we can add the reference which is on document click. We need document dot remove event listener. It's key down, and we can say this dot on key down. Then let's create our event bus, because we have destroyed the date picker. In this function we will destroy it, so we can just remove all the event. So this dot event bus dot clear, it will clear all the event listeners, and we will say this dot picker element dot remove. Now we are removing our picker element from the DOM. So if you see this one, this date picker, we will remove it completely from the DOM. So if it is destroyed, it does not exist there. So we remove it here, and then we can say this dot event bus dot emit. We can emit an event, and we'll say events dot picker destroyed. Where is it? Do we have the picker destroyed? Yeah, picker destroy here. Okay, let's see. This is our destroy method. Now if you see this public API, this is called facade pattern, because we are not exposing our internal functionality or any function. We are just returning a particular function. The internal, how it is working, this is inside our state bus, this is inside our state manager. So this is called facade pattern. That's working just fine. And that's it, I think. We now have V1, a complete date picker with proper architecture. EventBus handles communication, StateManager handles data, DatePicker handles DOM and user interaction. Each piece has one job. When something breaks, you know where to look. Next episode, we will compare V0 with V1 and see what we have gained with this architecture. I see you in next episode.